One of the main points that's often made when talking about the difference between men, male depression and female depression, why there's a discrepancy between the numbers of people being diagnosed. There's always been more women, and still is about a 2.5 to 3 to 1 discrepancy of women being diagnosed with typical depression as opposed to men. There are several factors. One of the one which is the same one that comes up for practically all diseases, and they're more likely to disclose, and that this is for all ailments, physical as well as emotional. So that in itself has to be taken into consideration. When it comes though to mental illness in general, and specifically depression, the fact that men disclose not as much as women is often mentioned as a reason for there to be less men than women being diagnosed, for the discrepancy there. If less men will disclose their symptoms, less men will be diagnosed. That's obvious, but that's also true of physical diseases, whether it be things such as cancer, diabetes, heart disease, whatever. Men don't go see their medical practitioners as much, yet only, or more specifically with mental illness and depression, is that a criticism of men. Men don't disclose as much. That's why we don't find as many. And it doesn't mean there aren't as many, it's just that they don't disclose. So first of all, my first point, as you may have gotten so far, is that we don't use that same criticism for other diseases. Why not? I don't know. Seems like a double standard to me. They don't disclose physical diseases either, but we don't criticize them for that. And I think more importantly, what is never mentioned is how comfortable are we as a society, and on a philosophical level, even as a species, to accept that men can be depressed just as much as women. Are we really willing to accept that? What about when it's our son, our father, our husband, our lover, our cousin, the guy in the cubicle next to us? Are we as comfortable saying, yeah, he might be depressed and it's a disease like anything else, and it's unfortunate, not that it's a good thing, but are we as accepting of that as we would be of that same person who's close to us, who would have perhaps diabetes or cancer or heart disease? How accepting are we of mental illness and depression in men? Is the fact that men don't disclose really that much of a difference? Or is the fact that we're not wanting that, we're not accepting of that possibility for whatever reasons? It scares us, we don't want to think about it. If we're men ourselves, maybe, we don't want to think that it could have happened to us. If we're either men or women, doesn't really matter, we don't want to think that it could happen to someone close to us. To get back to the philosophical level, we want to not believe that the men who, on our basic level, are the hunters and gatherers and protectors, that they are protectors, hunters and gatherers, can get mental illness, can get depressed. That could be a scary thought. Is that ever considered? Is that ever posted? Whether in medical journals or even philosophical articles, I can't say I've ever seen that. Why don't we ask ourselves, what are we so afraid of?